G'day and welcome to my garage. A bit of a windy day today, but we'll be alright. There might be a few noises. Today we're going to be working on making the pattern for the compound slide. Compound slide? Making the pattern for the compound slide. Okay, this has got to be 4.5 inches. Let's get into it. Okay, we're 54th hour over. It's 27. 10, 20. Bit of a hollow there, that's alright. Okay, we're spot on. Alright, this can come out. We'll go over to the bench and continue there. Well, I've turned the, when are we doing the quill support for the compound slide? I've turned that down to 4.5 inches. The block will go onto that, and then a half round will go onto that to create the hollow in the mould for the steel excuse me, for the steel core to sit in the mould to create this cavity, if that makes sense. Anyhow, I need to bring this down to 10mm half round, because it will be a 20mm steel core. So currently I'm at 10.4, 10.3, 10.28, so I'm getting close. Point 2, 10.14, 10.8. Okay, 0.988. So it's a little bit below. That's spot on 10. 10, 0.9. So that's it. Oh, got to go across that way. Have to slightly reshape the half round. That's 21.46. So that has to change also. It's 20. 20.08. Slightly under 20. So that's the shape. Just got to fit that to the centre, clean the whole thing up, and then I think that'll be just pinned. I don't know. Okay, I'll continue on, bring you back later. Just knock those staples a little bit lower, and then what have I got to do? Put some draft all around that and pin it to there after I take out this bolt. Then I've got to fill the hole over. I'll just tape it over. 28.5. Find some nails again to make some pins. So just drill 2 holes so that it becomes a split pattern. Little bit of draft and a couple of locating pins. Then that's finished. Paint it and cast it. I've already started to do the mould. The patterns, the moulding's already done. The patterns are out. I'm just now cleaning it up, getting it ready for casting this afternoon. So this has turned out so far quite good. I remembered to put the sprue and riser in. Wouldn't be the first time I've forgotten. Just clean this up with a soft brush. Just get the loose stuff off. I've done it the wrong way. That's supposed to be done it the wrong way. Yep. Start this again. Okay, let's see if I can get it the right way around this time. It would have worked the other way that I've done it. The only problem was it should have been the other way around, so the cope would have been down and the drag would have been up. And yeah, I had it upside down, so when it's standing up the right way, that piece, where did I put it? This piece here, that imprint has to be in the bottom, in the facing up. So when I pull that out, I can then put a rod in the place, steel rod in the place of that. So yeah, not to worry. The sand's all recoverable. We just go through the moulding sand process again.
This is boring. We'll come back later.
Right, I've just redone it. So just cleaning up the thing here. Pretty good. I'm happy with that. Okay. Cut some gates. And get the furnace ready. Okay. Just cover this up. Just to help stop it from drying out too much. Alright, see you when we get the furnace up and running. Okay, we'll see if this is up to temperature. All round colour looks good. keep it going for a moment.
Lovely pull.
If you can afford it, invest in a proper crucible. They beat steel any day. Okay, let that cool. Bring you back. Well, we're breaking open the quilt support out of the mould. Don't know what it's like yet. Get to that in a minute. The red that you see is the chalk, but I did put some talc over the main thing itself, and the chalk doesn't burn, but the talc does. The talc does cover better. What have I got? Well, this is looking pretty good. That's very nice. Which means I have to cast the other half of the bearing, make the other half, which is the bearing cap. The only thing, I've got a low spot just there, but I'll see how that goes, whether I can fill that. I think that's only a base. I'll be able to fill that with JB Weld or machine it down, but I've got to see how much machining, because I think there'll be about 50 or 60 thou. But apart from that, came out beautiful. Came out beautiful. So I'm going to consider that a good pour. All I've got to do now is clean it up and then cast another cap. Okay, we'll catch you later. Well, we're back. that was a good pour, and it had a small depression in the back which I could live with. That's not a problem. The rest of the casting came out well, but we've got a problem. The book calls for a 3/4 steel core in here, and which I did. I put a 3/4 or 19mm excuse me, well, actually it's a 20mm rod that I put in here, and that's what the book called for, because the 5/8 or 16mm bushing has to sit into that. Now we're going to, Gingery does mentions that the bushings would fit into the raw excuse me, into the raw tunnel that's created, and then using shims and slicing this bushing, you can fit that in and clamp it down and adjust the clearance with the shims. Problem is the bushing's too big for that channel, because that's not 19 or 20mm, that's 22mm. So I've got a problem here. Now I thought, well, I'll make the cap and then I'll tunnel bore it somehow. Probably drill it. Excuse me. Probably drill it out and make that work. But then he's calling for 3/8 or 10mm studs, 4 studs, to clamp this together. Well, I haven't got enough meat there. By the time that goes in, I'm going to end up with about 11mm of maybe 12. I'll be generous. I'll end up with about 12mm of meat for a 10mm stud. Now, I could make the studs 8mm, but I'm not happy with that. Not happy with that at all. So I'm going to recast it. That's a shame. So I've made well, partly made the pattern, the new pattern. So that bolt is for a reference point, that's not part of it. So I've now got a, what did I say, 22mm, I think it was 22mm, yeah, 22. I now turned up a 22mm dummy, blank, cut it in half, made the pattern. Now I've got plenty of meat here. I made this pattern. That was the other part. It calls for 2 1/4 inches square, and then with a slight amount of draft. Well, that was going to be less than 2 1/4 at the top. It ended up being 2 1/8, I think, on the old one, which also created less meat. Yeah, 2 1/16 this one ended up, but too much draft. So I've made this larger, 2 1/2 inch. Now it's 2 1/4 at the top. So what problems have I got now? Oh, the problem I have now is there's on each side there's to be a slot, an arced slot on both sides, so this can be rotated minimally, and that arced slot is going to be right on the edge of that, so I have to file out grooves into, or the centre of that out, so I can create a slot and put a bolt through there. So that's yeah, you modify one thing and it creates a problem somewhere else, but I expected this to happen, so I'm just playing with this until I get it right. Anyhow, that's the problem I've got, and there's one I'm trying to cure. That's why this bolt's in here. This now gives me a centre reference point, and I'll start marking out where the slot's going to be and how it's going to affect this top block. I'll bring you back a bit later.